Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another fine episode of Foxborough Central. I am Bob Hickey. I am your host, and I'm very glad that you have taken the time to join with me and my guest as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, by now surely you do, but I'm managing a nonprofit organization that is running the former Orpheum Theater, now renamed as the Marilyn Rodman Performing Arts Center. And it's a project that is not only near and dear, but I think it's so important for this community. It provides an economic driver for the center of town, but more importantly, it's a resource. It's a resource for the performing arts. It's a resource for organizations that have fundraisers. And it's also a gateway, and it's a gateway to theater, live theater. And just like any other sports team, any other organization, theater is magical when it all comes together. And nobody has been more instrumental, in my opinion, in this town over the last 15 years in bringing theater to our schools, to the people, to the recreation department, than Laura Canfield. Laura is my guest today. Laura, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here because I love talking about theater. Not only is it what I'm doing now, but in all honesty, the Marilyn Rodman Center is just a big building. It's just a warehouse. But it's the things that go on inside there that are magical and really make a difference. And you're doing so much in there. And again, I apologize. This is not the Orpheum show. That's not what this is about. This is about talking about how great our community is and some of the great things that happen there. And I guess to really talk about the Laura Canfield story, we got to talk about going to the beginning. When did you start with the Foxborough schools and doing stage productions?
I started at the Ahern Middle School 13 years ago. So that was my first introduction, courtesy of my neighbor calling me up and saying they needed somebody to direct a show. My kids were very small.
You made eye contact?
Yeah.
That's where we all get involved, right?
There you go. That's right. I did. I did not blink and turn away. And I went in with the intention of just, helping, seeing if I could make a difference. And that difference lasted 13 years.
Now, you and your husband both have a performing arts background, Rob, and you have, how many children?
I have 4 children.
4 children, and your youngest, Bo, is graduating from the Ahern Middle School.
Yes.
He's moving up to the high school, so the family gets older and new chapters for them.
Correct.
New chapter for you.
Yeah,
So
it's nice.
My understanding is that we are here celebrating the end of one chapter and the opening, turning the page, if you will, for a new chapter.
Yes.
So you have a new production company.
I do. It's funny because I've heard many people have asked me if I'm retiring, and I just can't even fathom that word. So the answer is no to that.
I'm retired.
Yeah, you're retired.
I'm retired. I just, a little theater.
There you go. Just a small side job, right? I actually am. I am now, for the first time, my own entity. I have spent many years working for other entities like the school system, the recreation department, other community theaters, and now I am my own theater company named LRC Stage Productions.
Yes, LRC Stage Productions, and you have a website, lrcstageproductions.com. And of course, we're speaking with Laura Canfield. If you want to get a hold of her directly, find out more about LRC Stage, you can go to her email at lrcstageproductions@gmail.com.
Right. I have to create a website. I don't have one of those yet. My husband works as fast as he can. I am not the person that sets those things up.
So he's supportive of this.
Oh, without a doubt.
He's
I am the
supportive of
visionary.
you
Yes.
and taking these major, because starting any business it's exciting, but it's also
It's a lot of that.
So where are you at? Are you more or more excitement right now?
I'm a little both, because
Yeah.
I think the gets you excited. I mean, I think there's a certain element of fear that kind of motivates you to, as long as the fear doesn't become greater than the person, right? The fear helps kind of generate that energy to move you forward. And Rob has always, we met doing theater, so theater's always been, the stage has always been a part of our lives in some fashion. All of our kids were on stage at the Ahern. My oldest daughter dances. My second daughter is actually in musical theater in college. My third daughter would say she doesn't, but she does, but she's more of an athlete. And my son is very very involved in the arts. He's been on stage, but he loves his piano and his music.
Well, also the FFV, the talent contest that happened. I mean, he was so phenomenal that night.
He did. Yeah, he won. I said, just go in it and have fun and don't think about that. And
that was an original piece.
It was an original piece, and he wrote both parts. The duet. He wrote the piano and the violin.
And the violin is beautiful. And who was his partner on
Maggie
that?
McAuliffe.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. They work very well together, and I would love to take credit for that part of his talent. So I will, but I do. He's just a natural. He's got a God-given gift.
Well, now you also are a piano teacher, so let's not.
I am a piano teacher.
Yes, you
but
do
when
many
it comes to your own kids, I support from the sidelines. He's had training. Actually, Jerry Love was his teacher for a while.
Really?
Yep. He takes composition classes at the middle school. So
Jerry Love, who does my scheduling, she's a wonderful volunteer with us.
Yeah, she's a woman who does everything.
She's an amazing person.
Yes. So it's great. So my whole family is very much involved in the arts, and my husband. Yeah, I tend to be, not that he's not a visionary, but I'm the visionary saying, I really want to do this. And then we figure out how to get there, and he's good at kind of helping me navigate the steps, and I need a website to do this. And he's like, oh, okay, so we sit down and do that. So he's patient with me in that respect. Yeah.
Now, and that's great. It's always good to have that support. And then, to really define what that next chapter is, we have to take a look back. And I love taking a walk down memory lane because my first time I met you was when my daughter was at the Ahern, and you're doing My Dear Edwina.
Yeah, Dear Edwina.
Dear Edwina.
Yes.
And it was
like my second or third show there.
Was it really?
Like that. Yeah.
So it's that long ago, huh?
Yeah, well, my first show was Schoolhouse Rock at the Ahern, and Jenny Greenleaf, because in fact we were emailing today, but Jenny Greenleaf, who is a music teacher at the Ahern, was in my first production.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's how old she is. Yeah.
And then you came full cycle because I go elementary school, just had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but their very first musical?
Very first musical.
Which ended up being Schoolhouse Rock.
Correct.
To a successful run at the Marilyn Robbins
Very
Center.
much so. They did a remarkable job. It was a wonderful opportunity.
It was really cool.
Yes, and you don't toot your horn, but I will, but it would never have happened if you were not generous enough to open up those beautiful doors and let us in. So.
Well, I appreciate that, but as everybody here knows by now, I can't say enough about the place, but it's a community project, and it's a community resource going all the way back to the very beginning when Jay Burrows first turned me on to Paige Duncan with our town hall town planner, and they brought me into understanding what the economic need was to be a driver here in the center of town. And then Cindy Hatta-Drew, who's been so supportive of creating the Downtown Business Association, which is now the Foxborough Common Business Collaborative. And all of these people have been just waiting for something to happen. And then, of course, Don Rodman with the Rodman Foundation for the Marilyn Rodman Foundation to give us that support, to be able to allow us to create the financing to purchase the building. Jim DeVellis, who's our chairman, Paul Beck here, who's behind the glass, also wears 17 different hats, and one of them happens to be, I'm blessed to have him, and then Rachel Calabrese with Confit Kids. So many great people, and Rob was with us at the beginning, and so many other people who are on our board of directors. But all that doesn't happen or mean anything unless there's people creating in the space, because we can't be an economic driver unless there's a reason to be in the building. And that's why, you keep saying me, I keep saying you. Well, we'll go. We'll have a glass of wine. It'll be a mutual admiration society.
No, but it really is. I am blessed to do what I love. I never take that for granted, and I tell everybody that, and I mean it. To know that I can, I do my best to positively impact kids' lives, and theater is a remarkable tool to help opening doors, confidence, team building, friendships. So many great things come from being able to get a child on the stage, whatever that kind of whatever a stage is. And we spoke to the Ahern kids last week, and a stage could be a classroom, a courtroom, an operating room, any room, or the kitchen. Life is a stage. Truly, it is.
And it's all about confidence and participating. And not all of us are destined to play lacrosse or sports. Not all of us are, wired to be in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. Not all of us are, made up to be, part of the, building cars or the young entrepreneurs or that sort of thing. So there's a space for everybody. At least we are able to, hopefully create space for everybody. And this is such a key piece of that puzzle to creating opportunities for all of our kids to participate and feel welcomed and membership and part of that team. So it's just a cool feeling.
It's very cool. And I have to say, what makes me, one of the many reasons I'm proud of this town is that as important as sports are, and they're valuable. And as I said, my daughter was a big athlete in high school, and she's still an athlete, in college. So I totally value the role that sports plays in the life of kids. Arts is equally important in its own way. And we are living in a community that does value both. I mean, the music program at the high school is untouchable. It's phenomenal.
Second to none.
And now I can proudly say that I've had some hand in getting a stronger foundation in the musical theater aspect of this town. I work with, for the past 5 years, maybe 5. I don't even like to count. Just kind of all rolls together. But Deb Giardino and I teamed up a few years back. And I took over, I began a musical program with them that has...
With the Foxborough Recreation Department.
Correct, the Foxborough Recreation Department.
Deb Giardino is the director, and I remember when we first started exploring purchasing the Orpheum, which is now the Marilyn Robbins Center, met with you and Deb on the Common, and we're sitting there because we didn't have access to the building. We're just sitting there staring at the building and saying, what could we create there? And you had just completed, I remember this was the Lane property opening up.
Yeah.
With that new Welcome Center funded by Schneider Electric. And Jim DeVos was a big piece of that.
Right.
That was such a nice, fun thing. And we started saying, well, what if we could create that at that theater?
Right.
And sure enough, and it was so wonderful.
It was terrific.
Aladdin was magical on that stage.
It was wonderful. And it was just such a great, everybody wins in a situation like that. There was no downside to doing that. And yes, I had committed to you to get a lot, getting people through the doors. I had my hope. I mean, for years I would drive around the Common and look at that building and go, oh.
I think we all did.
Oh, I just
we
wish,
all did.
and I always knew that I wanted to have some part in it. I could never see how, but I guess that's how the universe works. You don't have to figure out how. You just have to put the desire out there, right? So just to have the privilege of being able to be there, you had to do Aladdin, and then we worked with the Taylor School. Yep, the Taylor School they've been doing the musical for a few years, and we were able to put the Taylor in there. Then we had the ecumenical we took a chance on the ecumenical concert because
I think that went so nicely.
Yeah, it did. It was in St. Mary's, and a lot of people liked it there. And I even, one of my heroes in life, Jack Arthurlet, I brought it back. We had taken a little bit of a break, and he kept on me about it. He kept on me, and I said, okay. Yeah, he's your hero too?
She's Italian, talks with her hands.
Oh, I do talk with my hands, yeah.
Right over the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Can I talk out this way then? Yes, it's true. One is connected to the other. But Jack spoke to me and said, please, Laura, we've got to bring this back. And then when I said, I'm going to go to the Orpheum, he's like, oh, I don't know. And I like it at the church. I said, let's just try and see what happens. And it was great. And, so.
It was a chance, and I think it was rewarded.
It was without a doubt. And I had asked people afterwards, what do you think? And everybody loved it, so we're doing it again. So now things are, after 1 year, these things that we took a chance on are now becoming what I hope is a tradition for me, for you, and for the theater.
And I think for all of us in Foxborough, we want to see that theater, and it's not because I'm there, but we want to see that theater succeed because it's right on the Common. And if you have dead space, it's so, noticeable. The fire station, who of us out here in Foxborough can't wait for that fire station to have something done to it? A brew pub, housing, anything. I mean, anything other than broken windows and falling off bricks. That would be so cool. And I know that the town, again, going back to Paige Duncan, our town planner, and all the people who are working behind the scenes or in front of the scenes to create that reality. Bill Cospera in the past, Nick Riccio, our new building commissioner. There's just so much that potential there, but that's our biggest commercial opportunity.
Right.
I mean, when do you have a chance again to create something new in the center of your town when your town's been here for over 200 years?
Right.
It doesn't happen every day.
No, it's wonderful.
And so this is a great, and so that Orpheum, the Marilyn Robbins Center now, it had to be working because where would we be if that were torn down, turned into condominiums or a parking lot or it's just unfathomable.
Nice, as far as my part in things go, is that to be able to I believe it was Mike Stanton, who's the principal of the IGO, he said, I haven't been in here before. He walked through the doors and said, this is hopefully I'm not wrong, but he said, this is my first time here. And I just, I wonder how many people have said that over the past several months. And I feel a great sense of pride knowing that I had a hand in that.
Yeah, you're one of the builders here.
Well,
so,
absolutely. And I hope that in the next chapter of my life, presently I've just finished working with the Ahern. After 13 years, I decided that I had done what I set out to do. We grew a beautiful theater program there, and I'm very proud of all the shows. Lion King was my last show, and it was terrific. And it's being taken over by Scott Walker, who's the 7th grade English teacher there.
Isn't he great?
He's a wonderful man, and I know he will do wonderful. That was one of the reasons I was able to go, because I knew that it was going to be taken care of. I couldn't walk away and just leave it.
Right.
So that's in great. I'm sure he'll take it to places that it needs to go. The borough has been doing musicals for, I'm guessing 15 years. I was actually the PTO president when we started doing the musicals there. So it was.
Right, that's right. That's your section of town.
Yeah, my section of town.
Those are your people.
Those are my people. I love that school. Yeah, and then. The I Goes, as said, a few years back when Pete Regan was here, we talked and we started there. And Mike had always said to me, I really want to do this, because he'd come to the Ahern, he'd bring kids over. And so through his support, the PTO's generosity, Samantha Smith, who's a friend of mine and was the PTO president, kind of forged the trail, and we were able to get it started. So it's a wonderful thing to be able, it's a great feeling to have played a part in making sure that musicals are now in all 3 elementary schools. And
I
don't know how many towns have that.
I was just going to say, isn't it great that as a town, as a community, we can say?
Without a doubt. Yeah, kindergarten, the rec department does kindergarten through 5th grade. The elementary schools have theirs in place. The middle school has their piece. I'm doing Godspell next March with high school students.
Yes.
I know that Scott also is planning on doing a fall show with high school students. So we now run the gamut.
We have the calendar
kindergarten
covered.
Through 12th grade. Awesome.
That's great.
So
and I'm going to toot your horn here for a second. A reminder to everybody, I'm speaking with Laura Canfield, who has, for these last 13 years, been the de facto artistic director for the elementary schools.
Yeah.
I don't know what
cook and bottle washer,
I was going to say, I don't know what title they actually gave you.
Right, yeah.
I asked you this before when I first met you when we were talking about this, and I said, "What exactly is your role?" And he said, "He just gave me the look."
You can call me. I tell my kids, just call me Your Royal Highness. It'll be fine. That's okay. Yeah.
We'll go with that for now.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm speaking with Her Royal Highness, Laura Canfield of LRC Stage Productions, her newly formed company, to take the next chapter of performing arts here in Foxborough and bringing it to, I don't know if necessarily the private sector is the right word, but definitely out of schools. The schools, though. You and I had the opportunity, and we got paired together. It's funny how that happens. We're at Career Day at the Ahern Middle School. Great shout out, by the way, to that program. Career Day is such an important thing to do with the kids and give them a taste of what some opportunities are out there. So we were partnered together, and I was chuckling myself because I knew I had 40 minutes of speaking and programming myself to do, but I knew the ones I was paired with you, I was really just your straight guy. So, but the cool thing was that in all the classes, everybody already knew you. Everybody already knows Miss Canfield. Everybody's been in a production or has touched a production or been to a production. So it just shows how integrated you are into that whole educational process, even though it's not a class, it's not math, science, reading, but it's definitely part of the curriculum.
Sure. It's enrichment.
It is enrichment, and it's so cool. So it was great to see you out there and see all the kids responding to you, and then going down and saying the props. Oh, I know this prop. This is my prop. This is from this show. This is from that show.
Yeah.
So is it going to be hard to leave the schools?
It's going to be different. I have always had great relationships with the school. Sue Abrams has been nothing but supportive to me for all the years, and every time I stretch wider and wider, she stretches with me, and she's been wonderfully supportive. All the staff at the Ahern are great. Pete Kent has been a huge support to me over the years. So it'll be strange. I think any time you close a door, it's strange, even if it's a good door to close. It'll be a new, I'm going to have to kind of start fresh, learning how to, we have to figure things out with props and costumes, and if that's going to be my home, how we make all that work. So
we'll just build a shed on the roof.
We'll just build a shed, yeah. Anybody can let us borrow some space in their yard. That would be awesome too. But it's just, I guess it's just different. It was time, and I knew that, and I kind of had many conversations with myself. People say, "Oh, your son's leaving, you're going." I'm like, it just happened to work that way. It was just me recognizing my need while I still loved it, while I was still making a contribution to move on, because I think that's important. I think sometimes people hang around too long, and you prohibit growth that way. Oh, I'm good. I know this is what I know. This I can.
You get in your comfort zone, but there's nothing wrong with challenges.
Yeah, it's just time for me, and the way I live my life is that I like to be challenged. I like to be, things that make me uncomfortable force me to grow, and I try to instill that in my kids, and I'm not really one of those people that just kind of sits back and lets the world go by. The only person I know that's probably more ridiculous than I am when it comes to that is Rachel Calabrese, but that's another show unto itself. But I respect like her kind of energy, drive, and vision, because it's what I share, and that's what got me to this point, to say that it's my turn to try to venture out in my own way with the support of people like you around me, or Joni Champagne, who I met in a Dunkin' Donuts.
You have so many wonderful volunteers, I've met these people, and Joni's a great example.
Oh, she's marvelous.
You met her in a Dunkin' Donuts.
She handed me her number. She heard me talking about theater and literally handed me her number.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. Lindsay Deneau is she's doing choreography for me. We just we met again through you as the common vehicle.
And she's so busy also with the Elite Dance Center.
Yep.
She's got her own phenomenal program out there.
She's a younger version of me. I think people really. You pull people into your life. People come into your life for a reason, as they say in Wicked, right?
Daniela Plant,
gosh,
teacher.
So
she has
many
her own,
people.
and
Yes.
she's just amazing.
When I started, and I even said this to Rob, I said, I don't know. I'm going to have to believe that the right people will find me, and if this is meant to be, and I do believe this about life, that when something's meant to be, the pieces fall into place, and one piece after another, all these people that we're talking about right now, they are my core. They are the people that I pray will stay with me for the next however many years God lets me do this, right? I am fortunate, and I really do. This summer we're doing ELF, right? We're doing a two-week intensive
summer
workshop.
Intensive, yes.
Yep, and then we're with a full show. What's it, August 30th? I think that Thursday is August 30th. A show that we're opening to the public. We're doing Christmas in August.
Yes.
Never planned on doing that, and it all just kind of came. I'd planned another thing.
Awesome.
It would be wonderful. I already have 32 people enrolled. We'll take a few more if anybody wants to reach out to me. But it's wonderful, and all those people that we just talked about have all asked if they can be a part of it. And I'm like, yep, let's jump on the crazy train and see where it takes us. It's kind of where I'm at in life. My kids are getting a little bit older. I still have my son at home, but my girls are all kind of growing up, and I have so many people of my peers that go, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have never said that. Never in my life. Or I'm bored, or I'm home. Never said that either.
No.
I just.
It's always, and I'm always saying that you have to have a little faith. And when I first started this whole project, and it's not about me, don't get me wrong, but just mirroring what you say, I have to believe that the right people will come into our lives and make things happen. Because if you're doing the right thing, you have that vision, that people are going to buy into it, or else it's not worth doing.
Correct.
Clearly what you're doing is worth doing.
It is absolutely.
Impacted a lot of people.
Yeah.
The kids all know you, love you, have responded well. But the more important thing is that you're bringing a whole professionalism to the performing arts. I mean, if you see, obviously, but if you see at home these kids on the stage and the way they light up and the way they elevate, it's so cool.
They are. It is, even using Schoolhouse Rock as an example, the amount of growth that took place in just a few short days was just. I always know that it's going to happen, but even this astounded me, that it just the level went up, exponentially with what they did, and it was just such a prideful moment, not for me, but to watch them and do what they did, and to have so. When do we do this? When can we do this again? And that's wonderful. It's really. I mean, it's truly. This is why I do what I do. And I'd like to think that maybe someday, this path that we've opened to these kids will absolutely make a difference. And I was actually, just one quick side, again, going back to the Ahern being my last show, my husband had arranged for several of my previous cast members to write to me.
Oh, yeah.
It was like reading your eulogy while you're alive, but it was really amazing. And just to have people, the things that they said and the ways that, you touch people's lives, it just... Truly, Jess Todd was great young man, just graduated college, but he said, I had put him on, it was the first time he was on stage with me for a couple of shows, and he said, I want you to know, he said, I tell people all the time, he's going into sports broadcasting is what he wants to do.
Well, he's been part of our family here too.
Yes, oh, he's a wonderful, wonderful young man. Said, it's because of you. And it doesn't get any better than that, to think that you know that you've helped somebody on the path.
And you never know when you're going to touch somebody like that.
Never. So you have to be, so I'm always cognizant of that. So when I direct, and the kids will call me scary, and they'll say, oh, Mrs. Canfield's scary. And I hold them to a high standard, because I want them to know that they're capable of just anything. Anybody tells you can't do it, you just got to go find somebody else, because that's not the case. You can do anything. And I really believe that. And I sometimes I have to tell myself that, and I'm sure you have to do the same thing.
Speaking of doing anything, starting your own business. So congratulations.
Yes, that is definitely. I feel like I've had a fifth child now, and I don't really know how to handle the child. But again, it's all a part. Every day I learn something new, and that's great. That's what life's about. So this is why I'm sitting here with you right now.
So I'm going to give you the last word, because we are so close to being out of time. I can't believe it. Speaking with Laura Canfield, of course, who is the director-producer of LRCStageProductions.com is how you get a hold of her. You can get a hold of her also by lrcstageproductions@gmail.com. Laura has been the creative and artistic director for the elementary schools and the Ahern Middle School for these past 13 odd years, and is now starting that next chapter. If your kids have ever been in one of her productions, you know how much of an impact she makes. If your kids have not, then maybe you'll have the opportunity soon. Laura, give us something new to go out with.
We have great opportunities coming up, including from Elf to Annie that we're doing, right?
Annie and
Godspell. To Godspell, to Lion King Kids with the rec department. So I would just say that, please contact also the phone book. I've been in the phone book for years, but if anybody has an interest in learning more about performing arts with children, reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you. If I can't help directly, I have lots of resources to help out, so I'd be happy to do that. It's a privilege.
It's a privilege to know you and work with you. Laura Canfield, thank you so much, and thank you. We are so out of time. I am going to say, have a great day, Foxborough. Take care.